Hi, good morning. Today I'm going to talk about um, chapter 5, and chapter 5 is about functions and graphs. I had one video talking about chapter 5 functions and graph as well. In that video, I was talking about how you can actually sketch a graph, using completing square. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can sketch a graph using factorization method. Okay, so we are going to talk about graphs here, and these are the two methods you can use to sketch your graphs. Today we will focus on method 2 here, factorization. Without further ado, let me go to the next slide. Alright, so let me write down the question first. So it says sketch y equals to x squared minus 3x is 4. Okay. Alright, so we have this quadratic equation. So why is it a quadratic equation? The highest power of this equation is 2, and you have a cosine. Therefore, this is a quadratic equation. And we are going to use factorization here. So we are going to factorize this. So how do you do it? Okay, I hope you still remember. You have 3 terms here. So let me just underline these 3 terms. First term, second term, third term. And please note that the sign in front of this is also included, and the sign here is also included with the 4. Alright, now let me write down my first term here, and over here you're supposed to write down your third term. Okay, and for this side we are going to write down 3x. Okay, now you have to decide. And by the way, for the x square here, okay, the only combination that can give you x square when you multiply them together is x n, right? By the way, if you have not remember for this side, so if this is the line, so for this side times give you here, okay, and for this side is plus. Okay, so now let's look at how do I get my minus 4 here. Okay, there are a few combinations, right? You can have your 2 and minus 2. So 2 times minus 2 can give you minus 4. Or you can also have your 1 and minus 4, right? And there are many more. Okay, so let me stop at here first. Let me test my 2 and minus 2 first. So you have your 2 and minus 2, that can give you minus 4. Okay, now you need to do a cross multiply. Okay, so when you do a cross multiply, x times minus 2 is minus 2x, and x times 2 here is 2x. And you can see if you add your this 2x and minus 2x together, you're supposed to get 0x, which is not what you want, right? So if this addition, okay, they don't add up to this term, so the combination of 2 and minus 2 isn't what you want. So what you can do simply just, so now test the other combination. Okay, so the combination here is something is not right. Okay, before I get rid of this, got a screenshot. Okay, so I can actually continue from here because I got a screenshot. So we were talking about having this combination of 1 and minus 4 here, right? So 1 and minus 4 gives you minus 4, right, when you times them together. So right now what you can do is you need to do a cross multiplication. Your x and your this x times your minus 4, get your minus 4x here, and x times 1, you get your x here. So if you add these two together, so you will get your minus 3x. Alright, so you get what you want for this combination. Therefore, this is your factorization. Okay, so now you can actually change your this right hand side to x plus 1 bracket times x minus 4. Okay, so now we have factorized this quadratic equation. So what you need to do is start sketching the graph with this. So let me grab it, and I'm going to make use of this. Alright, so let me display all the grids so that I can actually sketch a better graph later. So I was having this, right? Okay, smaller. Okay, so your job now is to sketch this out. Okay, so let me draw my y-axis. Let me also draw my x-axis. And after that, label the both axes. So here is your origin. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here is minus 1, 2, minus 3, 4. Here's 2, 4, 6, 8. Side of the y-axis is negative 2, 6. So over here you can see that my scale for my x-axis is 1 unit is 1 over here. For my y-axis, 1 unit is actually 2. Right? So you can have a different scales for your x and your y, so it doesn't matter much. So without further ado, let me continue with this question. So let me take this factorization out. Okay, so over here, what you need to do first is equate your this, right? Equate your this factorization to 0. Okay, this means you are doing let y equals to, or rather, don't let y equals to 0, but so you sub y equals 0 to the equation above. Okay, so you sub y equals to 0 into the equation. Why you need to sub y equals to 0 into the equation? Because this step can help you find out what is your x intersection points, section points. Okay, so if you sub y equals to 0 into the equation, so y equals to 0 is this x-axis, so you can actually find out your x intersection points. Okay, so you should be able to see your this x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, this bracket is not included, so and your x minus 4 is also equal to 0, and over here you get your x is 1, over here you get your x equal to 4. Okay, so you have 2 points, okay, just by substituting y equals to 0 into the equation, right? So your first point is your x is equal to minus 1 and y is equal to down here, and the next point you have is x is equal to 4, y is equal to 0. This is the point. Okay, so you have 2 coordinates already, so continue to have more coordinates. How? Okay, how? So the next point you can actually have is your turning point. All right, so how do you find the turning point? The turning point is given by finding the line of symmetry. Okay, turning point is given by finding the line of symmetry, okay, between the two x intersection points. Okay, so I hope you still remember what's the meaning of symmetry. So if you have forgotten, all right, let me give you an example, or you can also go back and watch my previous video. I talk about the line of symmetry or line of reflection or symmetrical. But over here, let me just briefly talk about what is this line of symmetry means. So let me start with a square here. So if you have a square here, and if your line of symmetry is your y-axis over here, okay, if your line of symmetry is your y-axis here, so your y-axis actually acts as a mirror. Okay, so if you have a mirror at your y-axis here, and you have an image of this square in the mirror, so where is your mirror, right? So if you have a square here, right, if you have a square here, front of this so-called mirror. So this square image should be here, right? Okay. So it should be exactly the same, and the distance this object is from the y-axis is the same, which is here, should be the same for the image to the y-axis. All right. So this is your mirror image of this object. Okay. So therefore, the y-axis is your line of symmetry, or you can call it the reflection line. Okay. So now with this understanding, let me continue. Find out my line of symmetry for the question here. So what I need to do is I need to find the line of symmetry, okay, between the two x intersection points. So how do I do that? So you can do it by finding the midpoint. The midpoint of x equal to 1 and x is equal to 4. So how do you find the midpoint? Point is given by 1 plus 4 divided by 2. So that will give you 2.5. Okay, so that means what? That means your this midpoint of x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 4, it will give you a midpoint at x equal to 2.5. Okay, how you do it? Add these 2 points together and divide by 2. Okay, so if you have your x is equal to, if you were to find out the midpoint between your this a, your b, so what you need to do is, so x midpoint is equal to a plus b divided by 2. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so note it down so you can actually use this next time you need it. So let me erase this and come back to the question. So you have found your midpoint. X is equal to 2.5, right? And now what you need to do is sub in your this x is equal to 2.5 into the equation. See what you get for your y. Okay, so if you sub it into your equation, you see that you get this. Right? And by the way, this will give you your y value. Okay, so how do you do this? You sub it in, and I hope you can see you will get a minus 6.25. Get minus 6.5. Okay, so this is the third coordinate you have. Okay, x and y, 2.5 and minus 6.25. All right, so let me pick my 2.5, which is here. Okay, and minus 6.25 is somewhere here. Okay, so you just mark the point here. Okay, so last but not least, okay, you need to find one more point. Okay, you need to find one more point. So let me find a point here. And let me find a point here. So the point here is the y intersection point. I keep writing the intersection wrongly. So intersection. So over here, you need to find your y intersection point. So the value you sub in is sub x is equal to 0 into the equation. Okay, so you should get 0 plus 1 and 0 minus 4. And by the way, so this will give your y value. So you will get 1 times minus 4, so you get minus 4, right? Okay, so 0 and minus 4 is the fourth point. 0 and minus 4 is here. Okay. So with these 4 points, so I hope you can see these 4 points. 1, 3, 4. Okay, so once you have these 4 points, all you need to do is, this is your turning point. So okay, and draw this freehand. So please bear with me. Over here it doesn't look quite right to me, so let me correct it. So let me correct it. Oh, over here, let me, so you can see that no matter what you do, okay, no matter how nicely you draw the curve, over here the curve doesn't look symmetrical. All right, so when the curve doesn't look symmetrical, something is not right. Okay, so let me look at where I make mistake. Okay, so I make a mistake over here. Okay, by the way, I'm supposed to find the midpoint between this minus 1 and 4. So therefore over here I make a small mistakes. So it should be minus 1 here, it should be minus 1 here, right? So therefore this value is not 2.5, it should be 1.5. Right? So 1.5, so you sub into the question. Okay? So we recalculate it, and yes, you are supposed to get this minus 6.25 here. Okay, so one of the points here is wrong, so the point should be 1.5, which is here, and comes down to 6.2. Okay, so you know it's pretty easy to make mistake. Okay, but one important thing is when you make a mistake, you need to be able to uh, self-correct. Okay, the important thing is self-correct. So now with this, I can actually sketch the curve and see if I get a symmetrical curve. It up here. Let me link this side. This one is not too good. Again, still not very good for the left hand side. So let's try one more time. So alright, okay. So over here you have a symmetrical curve, right? And the line of symmetry is here. Okay, let me add in my line of symmetry. Okay, so this is your line of symmetry. X is equal to 0.5. Okay, and this is your curve. Y is equal to x squared minus 3x is 4. Okay, and then of course you're supposed to label all the important points. So over here is, let me use a different color. So over here is your 4. Over here is your 5 minus 6.25. Over here is your y intersection point, 0 and minus 4. Okay, last but not least, this is your minus 1 and 0. Okay, so I know there is a lot of stuff to memorize here. So but the step is very um, mechanical. What I mean by that, okay? So the first step is always to find out your x intersection point. Okay, this is your first step. Find out your x intersection point. Okay, this is your first step to find out your x intersection point, and your second step is to find out your turning point. Okay, so the second step is to find out your turning. Okay, so okay, it's better for me to use a big color here. Highlighter, or rather, let me use just use this if it works. So the first step is x intersection point. All right. Then second step is turning point. Okay. Of course, how do you find a turning point? Find a turning point is you need to find the midpoint. Okay, point of the two x intersection points. Okay, and the third step is y intersection point. Okay, the third step is find out the y intersection point. Okay, so these are the three steps to find out all the points you need to sketch your curve over here. All right, so we have a complete curve. Okay, you need to label your x and y axis, right? Label your curve and label all the important points. All right, so this is it for today. So I hope you have enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching. Bye.